Good afternoon, everyone, or I guess good morning to those of you on the West Coast. We're going to go ahead and get started here. We gave it just a minute to let any late arrivals get in. This is Jim Boomer with Boomer Consulting. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, an introduction to Qvinci for accountants. I'm joined today by Roman Delino from Qvinci, who I will introduce and turn things over to just in a few minutes. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items I'll go over, and then some brief opening comments. So first, we always get the question about CPE. We will not be offering CPE credit for today's webinar. Second, today's webinar is being recorded, and so that'll be made available to you after we're done here today. It'll actually be posted to the Qvinci website. We also often get questions about a copy of the slides for today's presentation, and those will also be made available on the website after we're done here today. And then the final housekeeping item is that we'll be happy to entertain questions from the audience today. However, each of you are on mute, so if you use the questions box in the GoToWebinar admin console, we'll be able to see those questions as they come in. If you don't see the console for some reason, it may be minimized, so just click the little orange arrow at the top and it should pop out for you. As those questions come in, we'll address those that are most relevant to the entire audience. If for some reason we don't get to your question, we'll follow up with you after the conclusion of the webinar. So with housekeeping out of the way, just a few introductory thoughts on today's topic. You know, there's a lot of interest and discussion, and there's more and more action taking place in firms across the country around elevating the client accounting services to more of an advisory services relationship with their clients. And firms are recognizing that the opportunities are there, and it's being driven in big part by advances in technology. So cloud accounting systems, as well as all the third-party add-ons that make up the ecosystem to allow you to provide those higher level services. But for these firms, it's not just the technology that's driving the movement, but it's also the realization that we're going to have to you know, change the way we're doing things to maintain relevance. But there's also a real desire to transition from just being a trusted technical advisor to being truly a trusted business advisor. And in a lot of the conversations we have with firms, reporting capabilities is a constant area of discussion where firms are looking to provide that collaborative, real-time, and actionable information to their clients. When they're able to do this, it really leads to deeper conversations and additional opportunities. So in today's webinar, you're going to hear about Qvinci, one of the leading reporting add-ons that firms are using today. And specifically, you'll hear how you can automate many of the manual time-consuming tasks that may be holding you back from having the time to have those deeper conversations and exploring that higher level work. We'll also be looking at Qvinci's portal and how it can boost efficiency and increase the value you provide to clients, how you can speed up workflow and allow staff to collaborate, and then finally the visibility you can gain across all your clients. So ultimately, you'll learn about really the three biggest values Qvinci can deliver, and that's in the areas of scalability, increased efficiency, and increased collaboration. So with that, I would like to now introduce our speaker for today's webinar. Roman Delino is an account executive and has been with Qvinci since January of 2015. He has many years of experience working in the technology industry and is very excited to be part of the reporting revolution that Qvinci is driving in the accounting profession. He recently completed his certified franchise executive coursework and holds multiple technology certifications. So with that, I'd like to now turn things over to Roman. Roman, it's all yours.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the intro. Um, and as stated before, I'm Roman Delino, and we're going to be going through an introduction to Qvinci for accountants, with the objective of making clear exactly what the value that we at Qvinci aim to deliver to franchises, but also to educate you on some of the opportunities out there as it relates to really becoming that firm of the future. So without further ado, what is Qvinci for accountants? Well, it helps to have a bit of background on Qvinci. We're a reporting solution that's at this point existed since 2007. Our original core competency was on delivering consolidated financials to multi-unit operators, i.e. in the franchise space and also in the multi-office space, at the click of a button, that are both gap consolidated and actionable and on demand. We've grown substantially over the last year through partnering and working with folks like Jim and Boomer Consulting and some of our larger accounting clients to deliver a new product. And the new product and the new solution is Qvinci for Accountants. And what we've done, while we still maintain the embedded, core competency of consolidation within our solution and the ability to say, I don't care if you have 10 files or 1,000 files, I can give you a P&L at the snap of your fingers. We've added a lot of things that are aiming to deliver that firm of the future experience to our accounting firm clients. So what Qvinci for Accountants does is it delivers to you what we term as the Qvinci portal. The Qvinci portal gives you a landscape view at the accounting firm level across all of your clients that give you both operational information from the firm's perspective. So things like collaborative workflows. If you've got multiple activities that run on specific clients that you engage with on a monthly or quarterly or yearly basis that you need to be able to track and communicate easily, the Qvinci portal will give you that one source of truth that says, anytime somebody with a need to know has to understand where a client exists within a workflow, they can simply log into Qvinci and see that, hey, we need to receive transactions for this client. But past that, the ability to add notes, all in a secured and controlled environment, and see financial information, and see that financial information on demand, and very easily navigate to that financial information. So, a question that we get a lot is, how does the information, specifically the reporting level information, get into Qvinci? Well, we've got several different tiered syncing solution that operates with both QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop, even in a hosted or non-hosted environment. Xero, MYOB, in the near future are going to be adding Reckon to the suite. And for those of you who have clients that are on none of those offerings, we always have an Excel sync that's very clean and easy once set up, so that really you get a unified view of your clients on an oftentimes daily basis. When we pull information from the online systems, it's coming across to us every single day. And so instead of having to bounce between various logins or clicking into specific client accounts that require activity, and thusly a waste of time, our objective is to make it a clean experience for you and your team, so that you can realize that that trusted advisor dream by improving some efficiencies and gaining scale. The next key piece to Qvinci for Accountants is what we term as report authoring. What does that mean? Report authoring is we give you the ability to create templates. And those templates can apply to individual clients or can be taken and applied across clients, even with differing charts of accounts and differing accounting software, with the idea of building out a reporting environment that is professionally presented, because a lot of the accounting solutions that we currently work with, while are absolutely fabulous at accounting, reporting, as Jim had mentioned earlier, tends to be a place where they fall down. And it's also, frankly, a place that, from a feedback we've received from our clients, a lot of what I would call unutilized hours are spent simply trying to create a professional reporting package to send to a particular client on some sort of iteration. And through report authoring, we allow you to build out a core group of reports that you can, once again, be very specific with or apply across clients in order to enable that one-click efficiency. that we're hearing over and over again from our clients as a desire. So that your reports come formatted, they come with your logos, they pull the correct client's name, the correct client's data, and you can simply spend your time on those high-touch services, those high-value services, i.e. consulting services and things of that nature. Lastly is packaging and publishing. Being able to template and memorize a report has a lot of power, but and I'll give you an example with our partners at QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online, absolutely, you can memorize reports across for an individual client, and they are a dynamically updating report for that client whenever it's created that way. The challenge comes in that more often than not, if you need to make a change to that report, you will have to change it with every single client that uses that particular memorized report. In this instance, with authoring combined with packaging and publishing, you're not only going to be able to simply change the template, which changes all of your reports that have been shared to specific clients, but past that, you're going to be able to take a core group of reports, i.e. like a cover letter, a table of contents, a comparative P&L report, a year-to-date P&L report, a balance sheet, ARAP aging, the reports that really comprise that standard financial package, and essentially group them together and publish them as a unit. So that moving forward, instead of having to go through the exercise of spending a couple of minutes, if not 5 minutes, on a per report basis, per client, per month that you do financial reporting for, you simply open the client in Qvinci, open the reporting package you need, click go, and it's going to download a professionally presented PDF package that has all of your reporting information in it, including your SARS 21 disclaimers, including your compilation notes. Simply that quick. And it comes across in the formatting that most of the clients that we deal with are looking for, with the aim to deliver that value and that scale to you, allow you to increase your efficiency, and allow you to take the oftentimes underutilized or unrealized payroll hours and devote them to something that's really going to benefit your firm long term. So what does Qvinci for Accountants do? Well, we start by bringing data in automatically, and this is specific to financial reporting level data. It's summary financials, it's P&L, it's balance sheet, it's ARAP aging, it's generating cash flows off of the information that we pull from the P&L and balance sheet. It's generating the key 13 financial ratios, including things like inventory turns, debt to equity, gross margin, so on and so forth. But syncing that information automatically makes for a low-touch experience, or a low-effort experience as it relates to your clients, because you're not going to have to worry about them sending you reporting-level data for you to simply prepare a financial package for them. You'll already have it. And past that, for those that simply do that read-only activity, an example would be the person who performs a final review and then generates a reporting package and sends it to a specific client. The beauty behind this is, instead of having to bounce between different RDS sessions for QuickBooks Desktop or log into a cloud provider and then log into an accounting software, you simply log into Qvinci. The information is going to be there. And you can use Qvinci to navigate between your clients and gain those efficiencies. Past that is to coordinate staff across all clients using the Qvinci portal. And not everybody has that workflow management suite of software built into their practice as it stands right now. And we've got examples of clients as large as top 20 firms in the United States, specifically as it relates to their CAO or outsourcing services, all the way down to the local individual operator pro advisor that really do not have a good means to handle that what I call inter-client communication, where we've got a couple of bookkeepers and a CPA working with a specific client, and how do we handle simply notifying everybody that this activity has been taken care of, or communication for that specific client internally. And the typical answer that we receive is, oh, well, we do that via email. Well, in some cases, you may be bouncing sensitive data around, particularly if you're moving backup copies back and forth and so on and so forth. Well, once again, with Qvinci, all of your data is residing in our cloud, and all of that communication occurs in the same place. And so you don't have to worry about things being missed, because when I, as a CPA, make a change to a particular client, update their status, when the bookkeeper that is also working with that particular client logs into Qvinci, they're going to see those changes reflected all in one place. Create reporting templates and including consolidation and KPI reports. So absolutely, we can allow you to create that professional report that tends to be lacking, particularly in the cloud-based solutions, to simply offer to a client. But more than that, Jim had mentioned the trusted advisor role, and a lot of what we've seen and experienced, and really expect to see grow in the future, is the accountant being the financial professional that interacts with their client on a some sort of more often than just when we send the financial reporting basis, and growing to understand their client's business. And we're hoping that gone are the days of we simply send them a financial statement, they look at the top line, look at the bottom line, and then stick it in a folder. What we are hearing from our clients, and hope to hear from those of you on the webinar, is that you're growing to understand your client's business and want to really put the information in front of them that will be impactful to them. Instead of dropping a 250-line P&L, which obviously is still going to be a function of what we do, let's carve down to some key performance indicators and really focus that operator's attention where we as financial professionals deem them to need the most help. Style reports and documents per your standard. Working with the various accounting firms that we work with currently, which is, to a degree, is some of the larger players all the way down to mid-market and smaller players in the industry. No one has a uniform. This is, the typical standard. Everyone has some slight differences in it, and a lot of times those differences are what make the brand of your firm. They would differentiate the service that you're offering, and in some degree set you apart. Well, with Qvinci, if you can do it in Excel, you can do it in Qvinci. And not to mention, if you can do it in Excel, you can do it in Qvinci. But more than that, with Qvinci, you only have to do it once. And then moving forward, you simply open the report, refresh the data, information comes in, and you're good to go. Assemble, share, and publish auto-updating packages for all clients. This is from a quantitative perspective, the single biggest ROI we can offer to an accounting firm that does financial reporting. Everybody has a way to handle whatever it is their iterative financial reporting currently. In some case, it's a group of, like I mentioned earlier, memorized reports that reside on each specific client in their file, and you go in, you download those reports, you update the dates on it, you insert your logo, you export them to Excel, and then you combine them with either Excel as a tabular format or some sort of PDF writer. Qvinci's aim is to get rid of all of that, oftentimes non-utilization time, and give back to you something that is a couple of clicks. And it's a couple of clicks, and it's accurate. You can rely on it. Your clients can rely on it, and you can repurpose those hours to something more productive for your firm. So what are the values that we aim to provide? We aim to help you recover billable hours, save the hours that you spend creating or publishing reports for every client, eliminate redundant tasks, and of course, deploy your staff to the higher value targets within your service offering. We aim to automate your reporting and really take that off of the operational plate of the firm on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and allow you guys to focus on evolving your practice into what's really been, being shouted from the rooftops as the expectation in the industry, and that is that you become a value add to your clients past simply, as Jim had put it earlier, that technical advisor. And then optimize firm efficiencies, cut down on the back and forth in communication, get rid of the need to send accountant copies back and forth within your team, centralize your information, optimize the information, and then turn around and realize the efficiencies that you can gain from having everything in one place. So we are going to bounce over to the Qvinci for Accountants page. I'm going to run through very quickly what this system looks like, and give you a small taste of what can be delivered to you. So when you log into Qvinci for Accountants, you as an accounting professional will land immediately on the Qvinci for Accountants portal. So this is going to cover a couple of the points that I'd mentioned earlier. We give you that landscape view, similar to what you would see from QuickBooks Online for Accountant, with a different goal. Our aim is to offer it to all of your clients, not just the QBO clients that are on the top 2 SKUs of QBO, but to those that maybe are even on QuickBooks Desktop. And there are some instances where, due to some driving factor, you can't get them to convert to QuickBooks Online yet, or it's not a smart fit for them. Well, our aim is to provide the same value to that individual as we do for the online clients. And so what you're going to see is all of your clients broken down on the left side. And because there are instances where what you may perceive as a client may actually be multiple reporting entities, as in this case, we've got a coffee shop with actually 2 operating entities that equal 2 accounting files, we give you the ability to break down by entity as well. From here, we tell you what file type we're looking at, and so you can very quickly and easily determine what file type the client is working with. And even for instance, in QuickBooks Online, you simply click on QuickBooks Online and it'll take you straight to the QuickBooks Online login page, just to clean up a little bit of a process for you there. But past that is where we get into the information that you're not going to find anywhere else in this format as it relates to the accounting software that we integrate with. And it's seeing really where each client stands on some of the key accounting metrics or pieces of information. What is our AR stance? What is our AP stance? What's the cash position of the company? And then past that, some of the key ratios. And this is where we found that a lot of our clients can really add value to their own clients, is because it's amazing how many business owners I work with that run their business off the P&L. And I'm not talking about small enterprises. I'm talking about businesses that are greater than $50 million in revenue. And the response that we've received is, well, to be frank, we operate primarily on this. My accountant primarily handles the balance sheet, and they kind of tell me what to do. And I see that as a major opportunity for either you to educate your clients or to really drive that value to their client from an advisory perspective, is understanding what is a current ratio, what's a quick ratio, and what do these need to be in order to enable whatever the business objectives are. But past that, monthly and yearly revenue period over period, last month to the same month last year, with percentages of change next to it. And the idea behind this is to make it very quick and easy for you to understand what the client's trajectory is per the previous period, and address potential issues. Like right here, I see we're down 47% last month to the same month previous year. Well, if you need to know why, it's as simple as clicking on the information being represented in the report, and you drop straight into the report that comprises that information within Qvinci. Admittedly, this is a demo report, so it's pretty high level. But in some cases, simply jumping into the P&L will help you understand, hey, they're very much down in a specific line of business, and we can encourage that deeper conversation and that why conversation. And from why conversations, more often than not, come solutions and action. So, we talked about workflows, and I think it's important to demonstrate these as it relates to the ability to grab notes. So forgive me, I keep missing here. The ability to input notes, and the ability to add workflows. And workflow is a term that not everybody immediately understands, but this is a summary version of it. With a workflow, you define to us at Qvinci through customization, and this is easy for you to manage yourself, and we can also help you with this through the onboarding process. You define to us what you would like to see. So in this case, we've got John's Automotive, and I'm using this as a communication tool for me as the CPA to my bookkeepers who are operating these files. And right now, I've recently completed the review of the books, and so if I update this to close books, when my bookkeeper logs in next, they're going to see that update, and know what the necessary activity for that client is. These are customizable in that it can be whatever it is you need it to be. We have some clients that use it as a way to sort industries if they've got a large client base with industry specific verticals. It, but past that, say I've got 500 clients on here, and my job is one piece of these workflows. My job is to clean up the books. Well, anytime you have a large contingent in there, we give you the ability to come up here and run a filter that says, hey, give me everybody that needs their books reviewed right now that's within my purview. And when I click that, it's going to sort by that group. So it makes it very clean and easy for me to understand what my job is for that given period. And then, of course, in addition to that, we give you a notes field. And the notes field can be communication for a specific client and are shared with anybody that has access or permission to that particular client and that particular entity. This is a view that is for you as the accountant. This is not something your clients will ever have the option to see. So past the portal, the other pieces that Qvinci delivers is a dashboard. And the dashboard gives you that summary financial information in a very clear, concise, and what we call coffee and donuts version that allow you to very quickly and easily see where your client stands on a financial summary basis, on an AR or AP basis, even down to a consolidated bank account. One of the real powers behind this is this particular dashboard is being generated off of 2 different QuickBooks desktop files. And if I ever need to drill into an individual one, I can simply click into it. So for those of you who work in the medical space or have clients that operate multiple entities, i.e. several profit centers and a few cost centers and a holding company, this can be a great way to give that view to your client because you can access this on an unlimited basis. You can turn around and offer a login to this information to your client at no additional cost, and they can see what they have rights to see. We'll never have access to anybody else's information. But the real meat and potatoes behind Qvinci for accountants, in my opinion, is the efficiency upgrade you can realize from automating your reporting. And automating your reporting using QBO, using QuickBooks Desktop, using Xero. You're not locked into what in the past has been an obligation of an ERP type system to get that automated reporting experience that's dynamic. We aim to provide that value to you, and you can provide it to your clients. But to clients that really, under most circumstances, don't have the sophistication or the needs to spend the money on an ERP type system. So to give you an example of what this can look like, if I wanted to run a P&L, and I'm just going to, these are some of the options that you have. We have by month, by quarter, by year totals, by entity, and the period over period. Key call out here, when we say by entity, this is really specific to consolidation entities because that's something that's very special about Qvinci, is we can allow you to take those disparate accounting systems that may have different charts of accounts, consolidate them using a dynamic mapping to a standard chart of accounts, and provide cross-file, cross-class, and even cross-file and class reporting. But, an example of a report that I see with a high level of frequency, and I'm going to leave account mapping on in this case, but just for example purposes, is a period over period report. Give me year-to-date last year versus year-to-date this year. Well, what sets Qvinci apart is the ability to come up here and memorize and customize a report. Okay, so what does that mean to you? Well, when you create something in Qvinci, specifically in the report editor, what you're doing is you're creating a template. And that template's aim is for you to create something that's standard that you can turn into a tool for all of your clients. A year-to-date P&L, a P&L year-to-date is a very standard comparative report that we're going to see on most reporting packages. And most clients are going to want to have the date ranges bolded and underlined. You may want to come in here and color something that exists on every single P&L, i.e. ordinary income expense or net income or total expense. It's going to be on every single P&L. Any formatting you do on those lines are something that you can publish to other users with no problem. And past that, do things like add a variance column, just as a for instance. And that variance column may equal that divided by that. and create this as a percentage. But the idea behind this is to allow you to create something that is either standard to be published across clients or very specific to a client. And if you can do it in Excel, you can do it within our system. And the beauty behind this is everything that I've done so far would apply to every single P&L that I could run for any client. And so when I save this and open a different client and refresh this report, bar sales doesn't exist in Diocese or in John's Automotive, but everything else that I've done does. So the new data will populate under their chart of accounts. The calculation will already exist. Any formatting that I've done will already exist. I can come in here and add a row above this and tell Qvinci to reference a client's name so that when we pull the new version of the report under a different client, that client's name will populate automatically, with the end goal of allowing you to build out a series of customized reports that are presented in your format that you can develop a library of. And that library is publishable to other users on a report basis, on a document basis, or on a package basis. And so I can create that report and publish it to other users. And when I click over to shared with me, I'm the admin, so I created all the reports. But in the instance that I was not, if somebody had shared a report with me, it would show up here. And when I ran this, depending on which client I have selected up here, the changes that they made in their report would be ran and their data would be populated against those changes. If you need to upload what we would call a dynamic cover letter, so give me today's date and client name, you can do that here. If it can be put into Word, it can be uploaded as a cover letter. And an example of this would be this one. Okay, very basic in this case, but we can get as complex as we need to in order to solve your problem. Long term, the real value is realized whenever you have a package, and that package consists of a series of reports and a cover letter, and I need to run this for Coffee Shops Unlimited, so I come in here and I say, you know what, download my standard reporting package. And in this case, it's a fairly basic package that consists of a cover letter, a P&L with some formatical changes and some calculation added, and a balance sheet in my format. So those are some of the high-level values that Qvinci for Accountants aims to offer to our accounting clients, and we go substantially further than that. But for today's purposes, that's what we're going to cover, and I would ask, anyone that would like to see more, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or my team. So, this carries to our next step, and the next step in the progression is how much time is this going to take for me? I see the value, I want to move forward. What's involved? Okay, we get into the Qvinci process, and the Qvinci process is particularly for those that administer or own their clients' accounting files. It can be pretty clean and pretty quick. So the first step is to add your staff to our portal. We create an account for you. You give us your username list. We create that account with that username list and the permission set that they should have. Then we add the clients to the portal. Once again, simply provide me a list via Excel of who we're adding. We add it, and we're off to the races. After that, we link and sync the client files. If you've ever worked with QuickBooks Online, you know that a simple link and sync with QuickBooks Online often takes less than a minute on a per client basis. It's as simple as logging in, giving the admin rights, clicking I authorize, and you're done. If they're QuickBooks Desktop, it's a very quick process. It takes about 5 minutes. Downloading our sync app handshakes with Qvinci and the accounting file, and we're off to the races. Creating report templates. So what is the customization that you need? And we realize that not everybody is going to be 100% familiar with our solution. In fact, we anticipate that you will not. And so all of our accounting firm clients, as part of our agreement, we will walk you through training in a train-the-trainer approach to ensure that your team is confident in using our system and can receive value out of it as quickly as possible. Styling reports. Much like creating report templates, this a lot of times may be a little bit more specific to specific clients. oftentimes those specific clients have the most complicated needs. And that's where I, as an account executive, and the rest of the remainder of my colleagues here at Qvinci can step in and help you and ensure that you, not only are the general firm's needs being taken care of, but the specific client needs are as well. And then lastly, publish reports and realize the efficiency. This whole process, to give you an example, I work with a firm out of the Midwest, which is the area that I cover, that operates, it's a pro advisor that works with about 100 reporting clients. We deployed Qvinci in its entirety, including a couple of consolidation clients that had between 7 and 10 different disparate entities, in about 4.5 hours. And that was soup to nuts. So from a time investment perspective, the time investment's minimal. Our implementation team aims to make it as quick and painless for you and your clients as possible, and allow you to really realize those values as quickly as possible as well. So what is the breakdown of our different SKUs? We've got Qvinci Enterprise and Qvinci Advisor. Qvinci Enterprise is really for clients that operate over 250 client files. So there's a scale limitation to Advisor. And it's the entire suite that Qvinci has to offer, including full file consolidation. So if you work with franchises, if you work with medical offices, if you work with anybody that's really is a multi-unit operator with multiple accounting files, or even more complicated in some cases, accounting classes that have to be consolidated across files. Qvinci Enterprise is the solution that you would use, because it involves our consolidation technology, as well as the ability to template, publish, and even set up things like alerts and goals for your clients. Qvinci Advisor is there simply to solve for the individual entity client. There's no consolidation technology involved, but our aim is to give you that client in our portal. Our aim is to automate the reporting for that client and allow you to template, style, and publish those reports, and of course set up alerts and goals for that client so that they can automatically be notified when they've reached an objective, and really treat them in a high-touch manner with minimal time or money investment on your part. And just as an FYI, when we're building out an environment, we understand that not every client needs consolidation. And so we are happy to combine SKUs to meet your needs. If I've got 50 clients that need Advisor because they're individual operating entities, we can do that. And 2 clients that have 10 files apiece that need to be consolidated, we can set them up on Enterprise as well, and still give you that unified view of your entire environment. In terms of pricing, the way Qvinci prices is by entity. So in the case of the individual client on Advisor, it's $10 a month per client. So, and it's because they are a single reporting entity. There's no consolidation needs whatsoever. In terms of Qvinci Enterprise, it's $20 a month per reporting entity that's being consolidated. So in the instance where you have a client that has 8 reporting files, and you provide a consolidated report to them and need that standardization cross charts of accounts, and maybe even you have a client with 40 locations that you need to provide, that you would like to provide benchmarking to. Qvinci Enterprise will break out on the number of reporting entities that you have. So in the 8-file example, it would be 8 licenses of Qvinci Enterprise, which is $160 a month for that client. More often than not, when we do an ROI analysis with our clients, and I would position this to you, if you're doing that consolidation manually, even if you're on Qvinci Enterprise, what is your man-hour investment on a monthly basis, and how much is it actually costing you? And I think you'll find that $160 in that instance is fairly reasonable. So that summarizes Qvinci for accountants. We wanted to leave some time open for questions and answers. I'm not sure, Jim, if we've had any questions roll through in chat, but want to really hit on the key values, and also that this webinar will be posted and available to you via the Qvinci website. And for those who don't, haven't had the chance to pose a question, please don't hesitate to use the contact information below to reach out to us directly. But go ahead, Jim. I'm really interested to see what we've got.
Yeah, you bet. Great job, Roman. So just a reminder to the audience, if you do have a question, just type it into the question box and we'll see it come through here. But maybe, Roman, if you can comment on, what's the first step for a firm to get started? Do you guys offer any kind of trial if they want to try this out and see it with real client data and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. First, and I would say first step is actually to get in contact with my team if you're not already. But in terms to most directly answer the question, absolutely, we offer an unlimited trial that allows you to add a group, many, 1 to N of your clients to it, and just find out for yourself. And we automatically offer a 2-week trial. That's our standard offering. In certain cases, if that needs to be for whatever reason extended a week, I would simply say reach out to your account executive, and we'll work with you on that.
Okay. And here's another question. I know you covered the accounting platforms that you guys directly integrate with. But maybe if you could cover, I think it was at the beginning, so if you could cover those again and also maybe comment a little more on those that may fall outside of the direct integration or direct sync that you have. What does that process look like to do the export import sort of process?
So to come back to what we integrate automatically with, we integrate automatically with QuickBooks Desktop, all versions back to 2009. So we actually support more than QuickBooks does itself in both U.S. and Canada, and in hosted or non-hosted environments. Now, the obvious challenge if something is on like if their QuickBooks application's on a laptop and the laptop's not connected to the internet, well, we can't sync that data. But if you have that file connected to a system that's connected to the internet, every time an individual logs into that file, once the sync app is deployed, then we will sync the most current data from that file at that point. And so once again, with the aim of really cutting down on, frankly, any work effort involved in getting that information into Qvinci, but also the risk of somebody just forgetting to do it. With QuickBooks Online and Xero, we have a dedicated secure API written to their cloud databases. In fact, we're actually hosted on the same cloud database or the same cloud service provider as QuickBooks Online. And so we sync that data every day at midnight. And so when you log into Qvinci, you're going to see what is what we consider the source of truth, which is the accounting file, what exists in the accounting file as per the previous day. Now, for those who are not on those platforms, and a couple of other ones, MYOB is another one that we do automatically sync with, but not MYOB Online, simply the desktop version of MYOB. And we're looking to add Reckon in the near future. That integration is not complete yet, but it will be soon. So for those who have clients that work with Sage or GP or Dynamics AX or any of the other solutions, in some cases boutique a la FreshBook, in other cases more enterprise level like the NetSuites of the world. How do we interact with those clients? Well, the workflow looks like if you can generate a P&L from that client, you can simply drop the P&L, which is typically going to come in a fairly standard financial format. You're going to have headers, sub-accounts underneath, or child accounts underneath, whether they're sub-accounts or actual chart of accounts, and then a line underneath that's total with the header account name, and it equals a summary of the group. That's a very standard format. Provided that your system can give us the financial information in that format, it's as simple as dropping the P&L, dropping an AR AP aging, dropping expense by vendor, sales by customer, and then copying and pasting it into our template and uploading it to Qvinci. Even in the case where we've got consolidation needs for those clients, you will not have to manipulate the chart of accounts at the what we call the native file level or at the upload level. All of that will be handled within Qvinci itself.
Okay, thank you, Roman. I have a question that came through here from Alex. So, do corrections or changes in QBO update in real time?
They do not. So we do not have what's called an RSS feed from QuickBooks Online, and a lot of that has to do with QuickBooks Online really regulating how often a file can be synced. What I will tell you is this: anytime you want to, for instance, and I think I understand the paradigm here. I've gone in today. I've made a bunch of changes to a QuickBooks account, and I want to reflect them immediately so that I can perform reporting. What we suggest is this as best practice. Yes, we'll have as of yesterday's data. When you get done making those changes, you can open up Qvinci. If it's QuickBooks Online, you hit Sync Now. We pull the information right then. It takes about a minute and a half. If it's QuickBooks Desktop, you're going to have a little sync app that resides on your actual taskbar. Go down to the bottom. Once you're done completing your changes, right-click, hit Sync Now, and you're good to go.
Okay, great. Another question coming in here from Floyd, or sorry, that's from Brett Mills. Where does the benchmarking data draw from? Is that from their own client base, or is it an industry code or something like that?
Absolutely. So what Qvinci offers right now is pure benchmarking. So what does that mean? And I'll come back to our original focus was in the franchise space. And in the franchise space, you not only have a large volume of data that tends to be fairly unified, but you've got you've got businesses that run very similarly to each other, and in most cases exactly the same. And so the way our benchmarking works is anybody that is within a client company. I'm actually going to drag back over here in just a second to give you a little bit better example of what that looks like. Anybody that is within a Qvinci company, so somebody that we're performing consolidation for, we can benchmark internally. We do not pull in industry benchmarking. And so in this particular example, now this is a different demo account than what we were just in, but we actually have 26 syncing files in this particular account of varying software types and varying charts of accounts. So when you look at our benchmark report, what you're going to be providing is a report based off of P&L compared to something, whether it's average, top 10%, top 20%, within this 26 file business with vertical analysis on against either the entirety of the business or specific metrics that you can set up that say, this is what matters to my client or this is what matters to me. Now, a unique use case, and one of the ones that we've seen is very popular, and I'd mentioned earlier, industry verticalized accounting firms. I know that, and this is actually, I've heard this from Boomer and some other folks that we work with as well, that specialization is really one of the things that's going to drive the success in this particular client accounting services world. And what we're seeing a lot of is medical specialization. We're seeing a lot of construction specialization. Well, the beauty behind that is if you wanted to deliver benchmarking to your clients and you work with 100 dental offices, even if they're different clients, you can conceivably, instead of this saying California Auto Group, it would say dental practice, Roman CPA LLP. Okay? And when I go to filter locations, I'm going to be looking at all of my dental practices in one place. All of them are going to be standardized across a chart of accounts, making that automated reporting even easier. But past that, I'll be able to provide my dental practices benchmarking that's not only responsible, and that will never let one person see another person's data, but is actionable immediately and valuable. Because, under that paradigm, if I'm trying to see where I'm at for the last 6 months, and I'm an individual operator that you've granted access to Qvinci, and I come in and build this report, and I'm in New Orleans, and I'm greater than 108 months old, I build this report, what we're going to present is a detailed P&L based on the standard of you against the average of whatever group of data that we have and whatever metric you've determined. So obvious application in the franchise space because you've got a large contingent of like businesses. A very great and unique application if you're looking to deliver what I would consider a much more detailed benchmark to your clients if you have large vertical industries of clients. It becomes a little bit less valuable if you've got somebody that only has 2 entities. as a general rule.
Okay. We had I guess this is the sound cut out, at least for one person, during the discussion of the consolidation.
Sure.
And they asked if you could repeat the consolidation feature.
Absolutely, and I went over it fairly quickly. Consolidation, as Qvinci works, is based on what's called dynamic mapping to a standard chart of accounts, something we actually hold multiple patents on and are pretty proud of. And a quick history on that, Intuit actually approached us because they couldn't solve that problem. Our Charles Nagel, our founder, is a pretty sharp, pretty sharp person, and was able to come up with a solution and get it functioning and really go to market with it about 2008. So what it breaks down to is this: you give us a standard chart of accounts. Your standard chart of accounts is something that it's really what you want to see is the universal version of the truth when you're putting unlike accounting files together. Okay, it is imported here, and the interface looks like this. Here is my standard chart of accounts. Anything that doesn't match this chart of accounts whenever I'm syncing data, because what we do is we pull that data and then we overlay the standard chart of accounts over the existing chart of accounts, and we look for similarity. And when I say similarity, it's got to be identical. If refurbished engine sales is a header account and not a child account in the standard, then it will not be mapped, because we really put a high value on being accurate. And we give you the ability to come in here and say, okay, my standard says, and we're looking for high level when we're performing consolidation. My standard says checking account 1, savings account. Well, we got cash in drawer. Well, whenever we're performing consolidation, these all say cash in drawer, but one of them could say cash in drawer and one of them could say cash drawer. Okay? And I'm sure you're aware of when you try to put that together in QuickBooks, you could very quickly wind up with a 1,000-line P&L across a handful of locations. And so in this case, we understand that even if we have different language across them, they actually just need to go to checking 1. We map the selection, and then moving forward, whenever we run a consolidated report, that information will show up under checking 1. The client, in their native file, is still going to have the language that may make sense to them or may be specific to their business. And you can flip back and forth between both reporting types. So the aim is to solve for consolidation and individual needs. Any other questions? Well, it looks like that's going to be it for today. Once again, I want to reiterate, really appreciate everybody's time today, and encourage you to reach out to us here at Qvinci Software if you're not already working with us. My name's Roman Delino. I actually cover the Midwest region of the United States. I've got Caitlin Underwood and Simon McGraw here to take care of respectively the Northeast and what we call the West Central. And really look forward to speaking with any of you that have any further questions, and appreciate your time today. Jim, thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody
Thanks,
has
Roman.
a great day.
Thanks, Roman. Sorry, I started talking and then realized that I had put myself on mute. So sorry about
it
that.
It happened.
Yeah. So thanks again to Qvinci for sponsoring today's webinar. And Roman, thank you. You did a great job of just providing an overview of Qvinci for accountants. And then, to our audience, everyone out there, thank you for joining us, giving up a little bit of time of your busy days, and we look forward to seeing you on a future Boomer Consulting webinar.